Have you ever reached the end of a long day with a calendar packed from morning until night? Tasks checked off one by one, meetings attended without pause, yet felt completely empty, like all that effort led nowhere? It is a strangely familiar experience. Many of us live in constant pursuit of better time management. More schedules, more planners, more apps, more alarms. We hope that by squeezing every second into neat little boxes, we will finally unlock peace and accomplishment. And yet, despite all the careful planning, exhaustion wins. We collapse into bed with a sense of frustration, asking ourselves why managing time never feels like enough. The truth is, time itself is neutral. 24 hours are given equally to everyone. Whether you are a Nobel Prize winner or a weary commuter on a crowded train, the clock ticks without favoritism, never stopping, never slowing. You cannot negotiate with it, nor can you add even a single extra minute to your day. So why is it that some people achieve extraordinary results with the same number of hours while others barely hold themselves together? The answer is not in time. It is in energy. Energy is the hidden currency of life. Think of it like a flame inside you. When it burns brightly, everything you touch comes alive. Tasks feel lighter, conversations flow, ideas spark. But when the flame dwindles, even the simplest action feels impossible. It is as though you are pushing against an invisible weight. We mistakenly believe that by controlling hours, we can control outcomes. But in reality, the fuel of your inner flame dictates how far those hours can take you. Picture a car. If the gas tank is empty, no amount of precision in mapping routes or perfect scheduling of pit stops will get that car to move. Yet this is how most of us treat our lives. Obsessing over the map, our time, while neglecting the fuel, our energy. No wonder the engine stalls halfway through the day. And here lies the paradox. People say, I don't have enough time. But what they really lack is energy. If you wake up tired, irritated, or uninspired, the day stretches out like a mountain. The hours may be present, but the strength to climb them is gone. Conversely, when your energy is abundant, even a short span of time can yield remarkable results. A writer with a rested body and inspired spirit can create more in one focused hour than in an entire drained week. The difference is profound. Managing time is about dividing scarcity, always measuring, always slicing. Managing energy is about multiplying abundance, renewing, expanding, creating more than you began with. When you shift your attention from the ticking clock to the rhythm of your own vitality, life begins to change in surprising ways. And yet, our culture worships the calendar. Productivity is measured by busyness, worth by how little free time you have left. People wear exhaustion like a badge of honor. The late nights, the endless grind, the back-to-back meetings. But behind the mask is a quiet desperation, hearts yearning for rest, minds craving clarity, souls longing for something more than the relentless march of minutes. Energy management offers another path. It invites us to view our lives not as schedules to be crammed, but as gardens to be cultivated. Each type of energy, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, is a soil that must be nourished if we want to bear fruit. Neglect one, and the harvest shrinks. Care for them, and life overflows. This audiobook is a journey through those four energies. We will see how the body serves as the foundation, how emotions act as currents shaping our state, how the mind channels attention like a lens, and how the spirit gives ultimate direction and meaning. Together, they form a system of power that goes far beyond the hours marked on a clock. But before we explore these energies in detail, pause for a moment and reflect on your own experience. When in your life have you felt unstoppable? Not because you had more hours, but because you had more life inside those hours. When has joy, clarity, or inspiration carried you through tasks that normally would have crushed you? Those moments are proof. Time was not your ally. Energy was. And this raises a vital question. If energy is truly the deciding factor, why have we spent so long chasing the illusion of time management? Perhaps because clocks are easy to measure, but energy requires listening inward. It requires honesty about our habits, courage to change rhythms, and wisdom to recognize that rest, joy, and meaning are not luxuries. They are necessities. The good news is this: energy can be renewed. Unlike time, which once lost is gone forever, energy can be replenished endlessly if we learn how to align with it. This is the promise at the heart of the journey ahead. So as we step deeper into this exploration, remember, the clock will keep ticking whether you notice it or not. What matters is the fire you carry into those ticking moments. That fire, your energy, will decide whether your day becomes a burden or a masterpiece. And now we turn toward the first great distinction, the doorway to the entire conversation. What truly separates managing time from managing energy, and why shifting this focus changes everything. We often say that time is money, but in reality, energy is the true currency of achievement. Time is simply a container, an empty box of 24 hours that looks exactly the same for everyone. Energy, on the other hand, is what fills that box. Some fill it with clarity, enthusiasm, and focus, while others cram it with fatigue, distraction, and stress. When we confuse time management with productivity, we end up polishing the box instead of nurturing what goes inside. Consider two people working side by side in the same office. Both arrive at 9 in the morning and leave at 5 in the evening. Their calendars are equally full, their deadlines equally pressing. Yet one ends the day energized, satisfied with meaningful progress, while the other collapses in exhaustion, frustrated by how little was accomplished. What separates them? It is not the hours they worked, but the state of energy they carried into those hours. Managing time is like rearranging furniture in a dark room. You can shift tasks, reschedule appointments, and color code your calendar. But if there is no light, if energy is absent, you still stumble. Managing energy is like turning on the lamp. Suddenly, the same room, the same furniture, feels different because you can see clearly and move with purpose. This distinction becomes even clearer when we recognize the qualities of energy. Time is linear. Once a moment passes, it is gone. Energy, however, is cyclical. It rises and falls, expands and contracts, just like the tides. If you learn to ride these rhythms, resting when your body asks, focusing when your mind is sharp, connecting when your heart is open, you accomplish far more with less effort. But if you ignore those cycles, pushing through fatigue or forcing creativity when you are empty, you drain yourself without true progress. Think of an athlete. No competitor wins by training 24 hours a day. They win by balancing exertion and recovery, knowing exactly when to push and when to rest. The same principle applies to the life of the mind and the heart. If you only measure hours, you burn out. If you measure energy, you thrive. Yet, our society has conditioned us to equate busyness with value. People boast about surviving on little sleep, about juggling multiple commitments, about being always on. It sounds impressive until you look closely and see the cost. Health deteriorates, relationships weaken, creativity fades. They have managed time, but squandered energy. And without energy, all the time in the world becomes meaningless. Imagine a writer who blocks out 4 hours to work, but begins the session already fatigued, distracted, and discouraged. Those 4 hours will produce little of value. Now picture another writer with only 1 hour but a rested body, a calm mind, and a spark of inspiration. That single hour may produce more genuine progress than the other person's entire afternoon. Time measured equally, results worlds apart. This is the secret hidden in plain sight. Productivity is not a matter of cramming tasks into smaller boxes, but of carrying vitality into the box you already have. When you manage energy, you multiply the impact of every moment. To shift perspective, begin asking a different kind of question. Instead of, how much time do I have? Ask, what is the quality of energy I am bringing to this? Instead of, can I fit this into my schedule? Ask, do I have the vitality to do this well? That shift alone changes how you work, how you rest, and how you live. It is worth remembering that time is external, but energy is internal. No one can gift you extra hours, but you can choose habits that either drain or renew your inner fire. Time ticks outside your control, but energy responds to your choices, your rhythms, and your attention. When you start to see this, your relationship with the clock changes. You stop racing against it, and instead start cultivating yourself within it. You realize that the true art of living is not in doing more, but in being more present, more alive, more energized in what you already do. And this is the invitation: to stop treating life as a schedule to conquer, and to start treating it as a flow of energy to steward wisely. For when you do, your days stop feeling like a countdown and begin to feel like a current carrying you forward. If time is merely the countdown of the clock, then energy is the fuel that determines how far you will travel before the hands strike midnight. And that fuel begins with the most basic form of energy we all share: the physical vitality of the body. If time is the map and energy is the fuel, then the body is the first tank that must be filled. Every thought, every emotion, every idea you produce begins with the foundation of physical energy. Without it, the mind struggles to focus, emotions tilt toward negativity, and the spirit feels heavy. It is easy to forget this in a world that glorifies mental hustle and constant connectivity. But the truth is simple. The body is the vessel through which all other forms of energy flow. If the vessel cracks, everything else leaks away. Think of yourself as an intellectual athlete. Just as a runner depends on strong legs or a swimmer on powerful lungs, your daily life depends on the health of your physical system. Every email written, every conversation held, every decision made is supported by your biological rhythm. You cannot separate productivity from physiology any more than you can separate a flame from the wood that sustains it. When the body falters, the fire dims. Consider mornings when you wake after too little sleep. The alarm buzzes, and instead of springing up, you drag yourself through routines, needing caffeine just to begin. Even with determination, your body feels like it is moving through sand. Thoughts are slower, patience is thinner, and motivation is fragile. Contrast that with mornings when you wake rested, muscles relaxed, breath deep and easy. The day greets you with possibility. In both cases, the clock shows the same 24 hours, but the body provides a completely different quality of energy within them. This is why managing physical energy is the cornerstone of managing life itself. 3 pillars stand out as essential: sleep, nutrition, and movement. Each works together to keep the fire burning strong. Neglect one, and the others strain to compensate. When all 3 are honored, the body becomes a reliable engine, capable of sustaining the mind and heart through the demands of modern life. Start with sleep. It is often the first sacrifice people make in pursuit of productivity, yet it is the most powerful source of renewal. Sleep is not wasted time, it is investment. It is the quiet workshop where the body repairs tissues, balances hormones, consolidates memory, and resets emotional resilience. Depriving yourself of it is like withdrawing from your energy bank before you have even earned the day's deposit. Science shows that chronic sleep loss impairs judgment, weakens immunity, and accelerates burnout. Spiritually speaking, it disconnects you from the rhythm of life itself. When you treat sleep as sacred, you honor the natural cycles that fuel every other pursuit. Next comes food. We often treat meals as interruptions, quickly swallowed between tasks. But food is not merely calories. It is living energy. Each bite carries information that tells your cells how to perform. Highly processed foods loaded with sugar and chemicals may fill your stomach, but leave your body starving for true vitality. By contrast, whole, vibrant foods, fruits, vegetables, grains, lean proteins, infuse you with steady power like adding clean fuel to an engine. To eat like an intellectual athlete is to choose foods that sustain clarity rather than sabotage it, to fuel not just the body, but the brain. And then there is movement. Too many think of exercise as punishment for the body, a way to burn off guilt or sculpt appearance. But movement is life. The heart pumps, the lungs expand, the muscles stretch, all reminding you that energy is meant to flow. Even simple daily activity, like walking, stretching, or breathing deeply, circulates oxygen and renews vitality. Movement clears mental fog, stabilizes emotions, and primes creativity. Without it, energy stagnates like water trapped in a pond. With it, energy flows like a rushing stream. Together, these three, sleep, food, movement, form the base of your physical energy. They may sound ordinary, but they are extraordinary when practiced with awareness. They are not chores to check off. They are rituals of self-respect, reminders that you are both the athlete and the instrument through which your life's work is played. Ask yourself now, how do you treat your body? Do you see it as an afterthought, something to push until it breaks, or as a sacred vessel that deserves care? Do you sacrifice sleep for extra hours, choose convenience over nourishment, or neglect movement in the name of busyness? Or do you honor these rhythms, giving your body the chance to renew? The answer matters because no amount of willpower or ambition can replace the strength of a healthy, energized body. It is the soil from which all other forms of energy grow. Without tending it, every other effort becomes fragile. So remember, you are not only managing time or tasks, you are managing the very energy of your cells. Treat the body as the first priority, and you will notice how the mind sharpens, emotions steady, and spirit lifts. Ignore it, and all else crumbles. If time is only the countdown of the clock, then energy is indeed the fuel that carries you forward. And the first reservoir of that fuel is physical vitality. But even when the body is strong, there is another realm that shapes your daily strength far more quickly than food or sleep. It is the realm of emotion, the invisible current that can either uplift you in moments or drain you completely. Even with a strong body, nourished by rest, food, and movement, there is another layer of energy that determines how long you can sustain that vitality: the emotional current. Emotions are like the weather inside your soul, shifting from sunshine to storms without always asking for permission. And just like weather, they shape everything around them. A single burst of joy can electrify your whole day, while a wave of anger or disappointment can extinguish your strength in minutes. Think back to a time when you woke with good physical energy, rested, healthy, ready to go. Perhaps you even exercised or ate a nourishing breakfast. Yet a single difficult conversation, an argument, or even an email full of criticism left you feeling drained before noon. This is the power of emotional energy. It doesn't matter how healthy the body is if your emotional reservoir has sprung a leak. Emotions act like multipliers. Positive emotions, love, gratitude, hope, excitement, expand energy. They make you feel lighter, more generous, more capable. Negative emotions, fear, resentment, shame, bitterness, contract energy. They weigh you down, shorten patience, and scatter focus. Both types of emotions are part of being human, but the difference lies in whether you allow them to control you or whether you learn to direct the current. It helps to imagine emotional energy as a river. Left untended, it floods or dries out, destroying balance. Guided wisely, it becomes a steady current that carries you forward. The first step in managing this current is awareness. Too often, people treat emotions as background noise, noticing them only when they explode. But by paying attention early, by asking, "What am I feeling right now and why?" you can redirect the flow before it overwhelms you. Gratitude is one of the simplest yet most powerful tools for sustaining emotional energy. When you deliberately focus on what is working, what is beautiful, or what is meaningful in your life, you shift your inner state from scarcity to abundance. That single shift recharges your energy almost instantly. Research confirms that gratitude lowers stress hormones and boosts resilience, but beyond the science, it simply makes you feel alive. Think of moments when you pause to appreciate a loved one's smile or the quiet of the evening sky. Those moments lifted your spirit without any change in time. On the other hand, unchecked negativity becomes like holes in your energy bucket. Resentment, jealousy, or constant comparison silently drain strength even while you appear busy. How many people live their lives outwardly successful but inwardly depleted because they have never patched these leaks? They chase achievements to fill emotional voids, yet each victory slips away like water through their fingers. Without emotional renewal, no external success can sustain you. Compassion is another vital key. Not only compassion toward others, but toward yourself. Harsh self-criticism drains more energy than long work hours ever could. It turns your inner voice into an enemy rather than an ally. Self-compassion, by contrast, becomes a healing current. It doesn't excuse mistakes, but allows you to learn without drowning in guilt. Imagine carrying a backpack filled with stones labeled "not enough." Every step becomes heavy. Compassion removes the stones one by one, letting you walk freer, lighter, more energized. And then there is joy. Joy is not the same as pleasure. Pleasure comes from external stimulation, often fleeting and shallow. Joy arises from within, from alignment, from being fully present. When you laugh freely with friends, when you create without pressure, when you notice beauty in simple things, that is joy. And joy is a renewable energy source. Unlike material rewards, it multiplies the more you give it space. The challenge is that the world is full of emotional drains. Some people, knowingly or not, act as energy vampires, demanding attention, spreading negativity, or pulling you into their storms. Social media, too, often becomes an emotional trap, feeding comparison and outrage rather than peace. Managing emotional energy requires courage to set boundaries. You cannot allow every current to rush through you, or you will be carried away. Learning to say no, to step back, or to protect quiet time is not selfish. It is essential. So pause now and reflect. What emotions shape most of your days? Are you more often fueled by excitement, love, curiosity, and gratitude? Or do you carry frustration, fear, and irritation like constant companions? Which relationships, habits, or environments leave you depleted, and which fill you with strength? These questions are not abstract. They are the difference between an empty or overflowing life. Managing emotional energy does not mean eliminating negative emotions. It means refusing to let them dominate. It means cultivating inner practices, gratitude, compassion, joy, that keep your reservoir full even when storms pass overhead. It means choosing to be the steward of your river rather than its victim. For when your emotions are aligned, the body's strength multiplies, and your energy flows outward with ease. But even with physical vitality and positive emotions, one more challenge remains: the constant pull of distraction. The mind, restless and scattered, can drain energy as quickly as fatigue or fear. And that brings us to the next reservoir of power: mental energy, the rare currency of focus. Even when the body feels strong and the heart is light, there is still a subtle thief of energy that stalks us each day: distraction. It doesn't wear the face of illness or anger, yet it drains just as deeply. This is the domain of mental energy, the clarity and focus of the mind. More than ever in human history, our ability to concentrate has become a rare treasure. Surrounded by notifications, endless streams of information, and constant noise, the mind is pulled in 100 directions before we have even finished breakfast. Mental energy is not just about intelligence. It is about the strength to channel thought in one direction without scattering it across dozens. Think of mental energy as a reservoir. When it is full, focus feels natural. You can enter a task, immerse yourself, and lose track of time in the best way. But when the reservoir is empty, thoughts fragment, attention flickers, and even simple tasks feel overwhelming. The hours may be available, yet progress vanishes into mental fog. How many times have you opened your computer, intending to complete one task, only to find yourself drifting from email to social media to news, only to realize an hour has slipped away? That is not a lack of time. It is the leak of mental energy. Focus is like light. Spread thin, it barely illuminates. Concentrated, it becomes a laser, powerful enough to cut through steel. The same mind that struggles to finish a paragraph can, when concentrated, produce a book. The difference is not in intelligence or time, but in the discipline of energy. And like all forms of energy, mental clarity can be cultivated or squandered, depending on how we live. One key practice is deliberate single-tasking. Our culture praises multitasking, but neuroscience shows that the brain does not truly juggle tasks. It switches rapidly between them, wasting energy in the transitions. Each switch burns precious fuel, leaving the mind exhausted and less effective. To work deeply on one task, uninterrupted, is to honor the reservoir rather than spill it. Imagine the flow of water through a pipe. With too many leaks, the pressure fades. Seal the pipe, and the water surges with force. Another pillar is rest for the mind. Just as the body needs sleep, the mind needs silence. This can come through meditation, breathing practices, or simply moments of stillness where no screen, no conversation, no stimulation intrudes. In that silence, the mind resets. It is not empty. It is clearing space, like cleaning a cluttered desk so new ideas can find room. Some of the greatest insights in history came not during frantic effort, but during walks, pauses, and quiet reflection. Creativity especially thrives on mental energy. When the mind is rested and focused, it becomes a lens capable of seeing connections others miss. But when it is overloaded, it reverts to routine, repeating old patterns. This is why many people feel uninspired, not because they lack ideas, but because they lack mental space to notice them. Innovation requires both energy and emptiness, the fuel to imagine, and the silence to receive. Consider also the role of attention in relationships. Have you ever spoken to someone who gave you their full, undivided focus? You felt seen, valued, alive. Now compare that to a conversation where the other person's eyes darted to their phone every few minutes. Which interaction energized you? Which left you feeling drained? Mental energy is not only about tasks, it is about presence. It is about the rare gift of being fully with what or who is in front of you. Protecting mental energy means becoming a guardian of attention. It means creating boundaries with technology, designing spaces free from constant interruption, and prioritizing deep work over shallow busyness. It is not easy in a world designed to scatter focus, but it is essential. For every notification you resist, every moment of silence you claim, you reclaim a piece of your reservoir. And so, the question becomes, where is your attention most of the time? Do you scatter it like seeds in the wind, hoping some will land? Or do you plant it deliberately, nurturing one focus until it grows strong? Your answer reveals the state of your mental energy. When physical vitality and emotional balance are paired with mental focus, you begin to experience a new kind of strength. Life feels less like chaos and more like flow. Yet even with body, heart, and mind aligned, there is still one higher dimension that completes the circle: the energy of spirit, the flame of meaning that gives all other energies their true direction. Even with a strong body, a calm heart, and a focused mind, something essential may still be missing. You may have experienced this yourself. Life looks full from the outside. Your habits are disciplined, your schedule efficient, your health intact. Yet somewhere deep inside there is a quiet emptiness. This is where spiritual energy enters, the highest and most sustaining form of vitality. It is not about religion alone, though it may be expressed through faith. Spiritual energy is about alignment with meaning, a sense that your life is not random, but connected to something larger than yourself. Without it, even great achievements feel hollow. With it, even ordinary tasks feel luminous. Imagine a candle. The wax is the body. The flame is the mind. The warmth is emotion. But what gives the candle purpose is not just burning. It is the light it spreads into the room. That light is spiritual energy, the reason behind the fire. When you live without it, you may burn intensely for a time, but the fire consumes without direction. With spiritual energy, the flame becomes guidance, warming not only yourself, but those around you. This form of energy answers questions that time cannot touch. Why am I doing this work? Why does my life matter? Where is my compass pointing? When those questions remain unanswered, fatigue arrives no matter how healthy, joyful, or focused you are. It is like rowing a boat with strong arms and steady rhythm, but no star to navigate by. You circle endlessly, expending effort, but never arriving. Spiritual energy often awakens in moments of silence, awe, or crisis. Standing before a vast night sky, holding a newborn child, losing someone you love, such experiences stir something beyond the physical and emotional. They remind you that you are part of a grander story. In Edgar Cayce's words, the soul's true nourishment is not found in material striving, but in conscious connection to purpose and service. When you act in harmony with that truth, a wellspring of energy rises, carrying you farther than willpower alone ever could. Purpose transforms effort. A nurse working a 12-hour shift may be physically tired, yet her sense of calling to care for others renews her strength beyond measure. An artist creating work that expresses truth feels hours vanish, carried by inspiration that is more than personal. Even in hardship, spiritual energy can make struggle meaningful. Think of people who endure challenges not with despair, but with dignity because they see their suffering as part of a greater path. This energy is cultivated by practices that reconnect you to meaning, reflection, prayer, meditation, service, time in nature, acts of love. Each practice in its own way lifts you beyond the small self into the larger whole. When you live from that place, exhaustion lessens because your work is no longer only about you. It flows from and returns to something greater. Ask yourself, what fuels your deepest fire? What activity makes you forget time, not because you are distracted, but because you are fulfilled? What cause, vision, or relationship gives you strength even when you are weary? These are signals pointing toward your source of spiritual energy. Without it, success feels like running endlessly on a treadmill, movement without meaning. With it, even the simplest acts, a kind word, a meal cooked with love, a moment of stillness, carry the weight of eternity. Spiritual energy elevates every other form, turning physical vitality, emotional balance, and mental focus into instruments of something larger. And so, as we journey from body to heart, to mind to spirit, we see that true management is not about controlling the clock, but about cultivating these energies in harmony. For when all four flow together, life becomes more than survival. It becomes radiance. But even knowing this, there remains one more question. How do we keep these energies renewed, not just for a day or a week, but across the seasons of our lives? To answer that, we must explore the infinite cycle of renewal, the practices that keep energy overflowing no matter what life demands. Energy is not a one-time gift you receive in the morning and spend until it is gone. It is a living cycle, rising and falling, flowing and renewing, just like the seasons of nature. Just as the earth requires spring to grow, summer to flourish, autumn to release, and winter to rest, so too does your life follow rhythms of energy. Learning to honor and renew those rhythms is the secret to sustainable strength. Without renewal, even the brightest flame will burn itself out. With renewal, energy becomes infinite, constantly replenished, no matter how demanding the world may be. Think of a farmer. He does not expect a field to produce crops endlessly without pause. He rotates the soil, lets it rest, nourishes it before planting again. Strangely, though, we treat our bodies, emotions, minds, and spirits like fields that must yield forever without rest. We drive ourselves to exhaustion, as if effort alone could sustain us. But exhaustion is not a badge of honor. It is a warning sign that the cycle of renewal has been broken. Renewal begins with awareness. Pay attention to the natural rises and dips in your day. There are hours when your body is most awake, moments when your emotions are most open, times when your mind is sharpest, and spaces when your spirit feels most connected. Align your most important tasks with those peaks, and allow recovery in the valleys. This is not laziness, it is wisdom. Just as a musician pauses between notes to give the melody life, you must pause to give your energy meaning. Simple rituals become powerful when practiced consistently. A 5-minute break to stretch or breathe can restore more energy than another hour of struggle. A walk outside, a glass of water, a moment of gratitude, these are not distractions. They are deposits into your energy bank. Over time, these small acts accumulate, keeping the reservoir full. Emotional renewal often comes through connection. Sharing laughter with a friend, expressing appreciation, forgiving a hurt. Each act lifts the current of the heart. Mental renewal may come through solitude, a quiet moment free of screens or engaging in something playful that awakens creativity without pressure. Spiritual renewal often requires silence and presence, sitting in stillness, contemplating the vastness of the sky, or serving someone without expectation of return. Each form of renewal is a reminder that energy is not created by force, but by flow. We live in a culture that fears stillness. Rest is seen as wasted time, reflection as indulgence. But pause for a moment. When have your greatest insights arrived? Often not in the frantic rush, but in the still moments when your mind was open and your heart at peace. Renewal is not the enemy of productivity. It is its foundation. Ask yourself, what are your personal rituals of renewal? Do you allow yourself to rest without guilt, to say no when your reservoir is empty, to nourish yourself as deliberately as you nourish your work? Or do you chase one deadline after another, ignoring the quiet cries of your body and soul? The answer will decide whether your energy is finite or infinite. Because the truth is, energy is not truly scarce. Like a river fed by springs, it can be replenished endlessly if we honor the cycle. Each day offers chances to release what drains, to receive what nourishes, and to return to flow. When you live in that cycle, life stops feeling like depletion and starts feeling like expansion. And so, as we conclude this part of the journey, remember, managing time divides what is limited, but managing energy multiplies what is renewable. The infinite cycle of energy is always available if you pause, listen, and step into its rhythm. Now that we have explored the cycles of body, heart, mind, and spirit, and how renewal sustains them, it is time to weave them together into a life that is not fragmented, but whole. For when the four energies align, you no longer chase productivity. You embody vitality itself. When we step back and look at the four dimensions of energy, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, it becomes clear that none of them exist in isolation. They are threads woven into the same tapestry, each color enriching the whole. When one thread weakens, the entire design begins to fray. But when they are aligned, a harmony arises that cannot be explained by hours or effort alone. It feels as if life itself carries you, as if a current stronger than your willpower is moving you forward. This is the power of integration. Picture a symphony orchestra. The strings alone can create beauty. The percussion can offer rhythm. The brass can declare boldness. But when each instrument plays together under a unified score, the result is breathtaking. Your energies work in the same way. The body provides rhythm. The emotions provide tone. The mind provides melody. And the spirit provides direction. Only together can they create the music of a meaningful life. Integration begins with self-awareness. You may have focused diligently on one area, say, building physical stamina, while ignoring another, such as spiritual nourishment. Or perhaps you've cultivated mental sharpness while neglecting emotional healing. The imbalance eventually reveals itself. A physically strong person may collapse emotionally under stress. A highly spiritual person may lack the health to sustain their purpose. The key is not perfection, but balance, recognizing when one dimension calls for renewal so the others can remain steady. When the four energies align, even ordinary days become extraordinary. Work is no longer just a duty of the mind. It is fueled by the body, lifted by positive emotion, and guided by purpose. Relationships deepen because you show up fully present, not fragmented. Challenges lose their power to crush you because you face them not with a single resource, but with the full harmony of your being. This integrated energy is also contagious. Spend time with someone who lives in alignment, and you feel uplifted simply by their presence. They radiate vitality, not because they have more hours, but because their energies reinforce one another. Their laughter carries sincerity. Their words carry weight. Their actions carry clarity. They remind you what it feels like to be whole. But integration does not happen by accident. It is cultivated by daily choices, choosing sleep over another late-night distraction, gratitude over resentment, focus over scattering, purpose over emptiness. Each choice strengthens the threads, pulling them into alignment. Over time, the tapestry becomes resilient, able to endure stress without tearing. Ask yourself, which of your energies is most nourished right now? Which is most neglected? If your body feels tired, your emotions turbulent, your mind scattered, or your spirit empty, the imbalance will eventually appear in every corner of life. But when you attend to each, even gently, you will notice how quickly vitality returns. The gift of alignment is freedom. You are no longer enslaved to the clock, no longer chasing hours that slip through your hands. Instead, you move with the rhythm of your own being, your energies flowing together into a life of coherence. And in that coherence, true productivity emerges, not forced but natural, like a river reaching the sea. With this understanding of integration, we are ready to explore something even deeper: how to protect this harmony from the constant demands of the world. For balance is not maintained in silence alone. It must endure in the noise of daily life. The next step, then, is to learn how to guard your energy against what drains it, and to design your life so that alignment is not fragile, but enduring. Harmony within yourself is a powerful achievement. But once you step into the flow of daily life, you will quickly discover how fragile it can be. The world is full of forces that pull at your energy: deadlines, demands, digital noise, and even the emotions of those around you. Left unguarded, your reservoirs will begin to leak, no matter how carefully you have filled them. Protecting your energy is as essential as generating it. Without protection, you are like a vessel with holes. No matter how much water you pour in, it will not stay. The first step in guarding energy is to recognize your leaks. Where does your strength consistently vanish? For some, it is endless scrolling on a phone that leaves the mind restless. For others, it is relationships marked by constant negativity, arguments, or criticism. It may be overcommitment, saying yes to everything, spreading yourself too thin. Or it could be the inner critic, a voice so harsh that it drains emotional energy more than any external demand. Awareness of these leaks is not about blame. It is about reclaiming choice. Boundaries are the walls that protect your reservoir. Many people fear boundaries, worrying they will seem selfish or unkind. But a boundary is not rejection. It is recognition of value. You would not leave your home unlocked, allowing anyone to enter at any hour. Why then do we leave our minds and hearts unguarded, accessible to every demand? Boundaries say, this space is sacred, this energy is precious, and I will not allow it to be stolen carelessly. Mental boundaries might mean silencing notifications during focused work, or limiting how often you check email. Emotional boundaries might mean stepping back from someone whose constant drama drains your spirit. Physical boundaries might mean honoring rest rather than sacrificing sleep to meet another deadline. Spiritual boundaries might mean carving time each morning for reflection before the day intrudes. These are not luxuries, they are lifelines. Consider also the role of environment. Just as plants thrive or wither depending on the soil they are rooted in, your energy is shaped by your surroundings. A cluttered, chaotic space breeds mental fatigue. A toxic workplace culture breeds emotional depletion. A constant stream of noise makes focus impossible. Protecting energy often means redesigning your environment, tidying a desk, creating quiet zones, seeking communities that uplift rather than exhaust. Small adjustments compound into powerful reserves. Another key is learning the art of selective attention. You cannot control every demand, but you can control what receives your focus. Not every argument deserves your response. Not every request deserves your immediate yes. Not every distraction deserves your time. Attention is energy in action. Each time you direct it wisely, you protect your reservoir. And let us not forget recovery. Protection does not only mean defense, it also means replenishment. Imagine a warrior who fights endlessly without retreat. Sooner or later, strength fades. But one who alternates battle with rest preserves power. In the same way, you must design rhythms that allow constant renewal, stepping outside for fresh air, pausing to breathe, spending moments in silence. These pauses are not interruptions to life. They are what keep life alive. Ask yourself honestly, how do you allow your energy to be taken? Do you hand it away to distraction, to the expectations of others, to old habits that no longer serve you? Or do you stand guard, choosing deliberately what enters and what stays out? The answer reveals why you either end your days drained or renewed. To guard your energy is to honor your worth. It is to declare that your vitality matters, not only for yourself, but for the people and work you touch. A depleted person cannot give deeply. A renewed one becomes a source of strength for all. With energy protected, you are ready to channel it toward what matters most. Because the purpose of guarding your reservoir is not merely survival. It is so that your energy can be invested into creation, growth, and meaningful contribution. And that brings us to the next stage. How to direct the full harmony of your being into action, guided by purpose. Protecting your energy creates the foundation. But what you do with that energy is what ultimately defines your life. Think of it as building a savings account. Guarding your energy prevents unnecessary withdrawals, but true growth comes when you invest those savings wisely. This is where purpose steps in. Not a vague idea of being busy, but a deliberate channeling of your strength toward what truly matters. Without direction, energy disperses. With direction, it becomes power. Purpose is like a lens that focuses scattered light into a beam. When you know why you are doing something, every form of energy, body, heart, mind, and spirit, unites in service of that goal. Work no longer feels like obligation, it becomes expression. Effort no longer feels heavy, it feels meaningful. Even difficulties become bearable because they are endured in the name of something greater. Consider two people facing the same challenge. A grueling work project that demands late nights and intense effort. One works only for a paycheck, disconnected from any deeper value. Each hour feels like a burden, every setback a wound. The other works because they believe in the impact of the project, because it aligns with their skills and values. Though equally tired, they find energy even in exhaustion. Purpose is the difference between depletion and fulfillment. Purpose also transforms the way you measure success. When life is driven by time alone, success is measured in quantity. How many tasks completed, how many hours worked, how many achievements listed. But when life is driven by purpose, success is measured in quality. The meaning behind your actions, the depth of your presence, the love or truth you leave behind. Time fades, but impact remains. Finding purpose does not always mean grand gestures. It is not only about discovering a singular life mission or changing the world overnight. Sometimes it is as simple as asking, why does this matter? Cooking a meal becomes an act of care, not a chore. Listening deeply to a friend becomes a moment of healing, not just a conversation. Purpose infuses even the smallest acts with significance. This alignment requires honesty. Many people pour energy into things that do not reflect their values, chasing goals handed to them by society, family, or comparison. They wonder why they feel drained despite success. The answer is that energy is wasted when it flows against the current of the soul. True vitality comes when your actions align with your authentic direction. So pause and reflect. What values matter most to you? What activities make you feel alive? Where does your energy flow naturally, without force? These are clues to your purpose. Do not expect perfect clarity at once. Purpose is discovered gradually, often revealed through curiosity, service, and listening inward. But once glimpsed, it acts as a compass, orienting every other decision. When purpose leads, energy multiplies. The body gains strength to endure, emotions lift with resilience, the mind sharpens in focus, and the spirit burns with steady flame. Direction transforms scattered resources into unstoppable momentum. And here lies the most powerful truth. When your energy serves a purpose larger than yourself, renewal becomes automatic. You do not simply manage energy, you receive it in return. Service, creativity, love, these acts replenish even as they require effort, because they tap into the deeper cycles of life. Like a river feeding the ocean, your energy joins something larger, and in return, you are carried by its tide. This is why many who live with purpose appear tireless. It is not that they have more hours, it is that their hours are infused with meaning. They are not fighting against themselves, they are flowing with alignment. Now that we see how purpose directs and multiplies energy, the question becomes, how do we sustain this alignment in the face of inevitable challenges? Life will not always cooperate. Disappointments, losses, and changes will come. And yet those who master energy know how to turn even adversity into fuel. This is where the infinite cycle of renewal meets resilience, the art of transforming trials into strength. No matter how deeply aligned you are with purpose, life has a way of testing your reserves. Disappointments arrive uninvited, losses shake the heart, change sweeps away what felt secure. In these moments, energy seems to vanish, replaced by heaviness and fatigue. Yet history and lived experience reveal a paradox. Adversity can either extinguish us or refine us. What makes the difference is how we engage with resilience, the art of turning trials into fuel rather than drains. Resilience is not the absence of hardship. It is the ability to rise in its midst, to bend without breaking, to use struggle as a teacher rather than a thief. When energy is managed only in fair weather, it collapses under storms. But when you understand how to renew yourself even in difficulty, storms become opportunities to deepen your roots. Think of a tree in heavy wind. The branches whip and sway, yet the trunk holds firm because the roots are deep. Without deep roots, the same wind would topple it. Resilience works in the same way. Physical energy gives the trunk strength. Emotional balance allows branches to bend without snapping. Mental clarity helps navigate the storm, and spiritual meaning anchors the roots. Together, they allow you not only to survive difficulty, but to grow stronger because of it. Consider those who have endured great hardship, yet emerged with a new vitality. Survivors of illness who live with greater appreciation, individuals who lose jobs but discover their true vocation, families who endure grief yet grow in love. These stories remind us that energy is not destroyed by adversity. It is reshaped. The fire that once burned smoothly may sputter, but with new fuel it can blaze brighter than before. The practice of resilience begins with acceptance. Fighting reality consumes energy. Denial, bitterness, or constant complaint are leaks in the reservoir. Acceptance does not mean resignation. It means conserving strength for response rather than resistance. By saying, "This is the storm I face," you stop wasting energy on wishing it were otherwise and begin focusing on how to move through. The second practice is reframing. How you interpret an event determines whether it drains or empowers. A failure can be seen as proof of inadequacy or as feedback for growth. Loss can be seen as meaningless tragedy or as an invitation to cherish life more deeply. The facts may not change, but the meaning you give them transforms the energy they generate. The third practice is connection. Hardship isolates when you carry it alone, but shared burdens become lighter. Whether through family, community, or faith, connection replenishes energy in times of trial. To speak your truth, to be seen, to know you are not alone. These are renewals as powerful as food or sleep. And finally, resilience grows from purpose. When you know why you are enduring, you can bear almost any how. Adversity becomes not an enemy, but a test that strengthens your alignment. As Edgar Cayce often emphasized, the soul grows through experience, even through pain. When you see your trials as part of a larger path, they cease to be only drains and begin to be catalysts. Ask yourself, when hardship strikes, do you crumble into exhaustion? Or do you search for the lesson, the deeper current beneath the surface? Do you isolate in silence, or do you reach for connection? Do you resist reality until you are drained, or do you accept, adapt, and grow? Your answers reveal not only resilience, but the future of your energy. Resilience ensures that your energy is not fragile, dependent on circumstances always going your way. Instead, it becomes renewable under any condition. Like a river flowing around rocks, you learn to move forward even when obstacles appear. This is not naive optimism, it is practiced strength. With resilience, even storms replenish you. And once you discover that trials can add to your energy rather than subtract from it, you begin to see life not as something to survive, but as something to transform. Which leads us to the next stage, how to turn renewal and resilience into an ongoing way of being. A lifestyle where energy overflows naturally into everything you touch. To reach a point where energy flows not only in cycles of renewal, but as a natural way of living, is to enter a deeper stage of mastery. Here, energy is no longer something you must constantly chase or fight to preserve. It becomes woven into the fabric of your daily life. Instead of thinking, how do I recharge? You begin to live in such a way that you rarely empty out completely. Your choices, rhythms, and relationships form an environment where energy is continually replenished, almost effortlessly. Think of it like breathing. You do not consciously count each inhale and exhale all day. Breathing sustains you naturally, because your body has been designed to do it. Living in alignment with energy is similar. When you shape your life around supportive rhythms, renewal becomes automatic. Every day feeds the next. Every action contains within it the seeds of restoration. This is not a utopia without stress, but a lifestyle where stress does not dominate because energy is always being restored faster than it is depleted. One of the keys to this state is ritual. Rituals are not just habits. They are conscious anchors of meaning. A morning walk that clears your mind, a journal entry that resets your emotions, a moment of prayer or meditation that centers your spirit. These rituals weave renewal into your day. Over time, they stop being optional activities and become natural expressions of who you are. Another key is alignment with values. When your outer actions match your inner compass, energy flows smoothly. Disharmony, by contrast, is one of the greatest drains. Doing work you do not believe in, maintaining relationships that contradict your truth, or living in patterns that betray your values. These fractures bleed vitality. But when you align your life with what you truly believe, every action becomes lighter because it is supported by integrity. Integrity, in this sense, is not only moral but energetic. It keeps you whole. Community also plays a powerful role. No one sustains energy in isolation. Surrounding yourself with people who uplift, inspire, and challenge you in healthy ways creates an atmosphere of growth. Just as plants thrive in fertile soil, you thrive in environments of encouragement and authenticity. The opposite is also true. Toxic environments can undo the best personal practices. Thus, mastering energy as a lifestyle often requires the courage to step into new spaces, to seek communities that reflect the vitality you wish to sustain. Simplicity is another thread. Complexity is exhausting. Too many commitments, too much clutter, too many distractions scatter your energy. Simplifying, whether through physical decluttering, clearer priorities, or saying no more often, frees energy to flow into what matters. Simplicity is not about deprivation. It is about conservation, about channeling energy toward fewer but richer pursuits. At this stage, you begin to notice that energy flows outward as well as inward. You no longer think only of sustaining yourself. You become a source of vitality for others. Your presence itself brings calm or inspiration. People leave your company feeling lighter, not heavier. This is a sign that your energy is overflowing, no longer trapped in cycles of depletion, but spilling into the world. Ask yourself, what would it feel like to live in a way where energy is continually renewed, where exhaustion is rare, and where your very lifestyle is your recharge? What rituals, values, communities, or simplifications would that require? Imagine shaping a life where your reservoir is always full enough to share. When energy becomes a way of being, life no longer feels like a series of battles against fatigue or chaos. It becomes a flow of strength, clarity, and presence. You live not as someone constantly repairing leaks, but as a fountain that refreshes itself as it pours. And yet, even here, one final truth remains. No cycle, no ritual, no alignment will matter unless you see energy not as something temporary, but as something infinite, always available, always waiting to be renewed. This brings us to the closing step of our journey, the recognition of the infinite cycle, where energy ceases to be managed like a scarce resource and is embraced as the endless gift it truly is. To stand at the end of this journey is to see energy not as something fragile or temporary, but as part of a vast, infinite cycle that has always surrounded you. Just as the ocean never fears running dry because it is constantly fed by rivers and rain, you too can live with the assurance that energy is never truly gone. It is renewed, reshaped, reborn in countless forms. Time may pass and never return, but energy can always be replenished when you step into harmony with its flow. This truth changes everything. No longer do you need to grip your days with desperation, fearing exhaustion as if it is the end. Instead, you learn to see each dip in energy as an invitation to restore, to breathe, to align again. Fatigue is not failure, it is a signal. Sadness is not defeat, it is a doorway to reflection. Distraction is not doom, it is a reminder to return to focus. Even challenges that seem to drain you can be part of the cycle, offering new strength once they are reframed and integrated. In this infinite view, energy becomes a rhythm of giving and receiving. You give energy through work, service, love, creativity. You receive energy through rest, joy, connection, and meaning. The balance is not always perfect, but the cycle itself is trustworthy. Like the sun that rises no matter how dark the night, renewal will always come when you create space for it. The infinite cycle also invites humility. You realize you are not the sole generator of energy. The food that nourishes you comes from the earth. The air that revives you comes from the sky. The love that uplifts you comes from connection with others. Life is a constant exchange. reminding you that energy flows through you but is never only yours. To recognize this is to live with gratitude, awe, and responsibility. Gratitude itself is one of the most powerful renewals. Each time you pause to notice the gift of breath, the kindness of a friend, or the beauty of a sunrise, you step back into the cycle. Energy swells, not because you took more, but because you recognized what was already flowing. Gratitude turns scarcity into abundance, fatigue into fullness. The infinite cycle also means you need not fear aging or change. Though time alters the body, energy continues to transform. Physical strength may wane, but emotional depth may deepen. Mental agility may shift, but spiritual wisdom grows brighter. At every stage of life, some form of energy is available to carry you. When one flame dims, another glows more strongly. This perspective dissolves the obsession with the clock. Time becomes a simple measure of movement, but not the master of your days. Energy becomes the true compass. You ask less, how many hours do I have left? And more, what energy am I choosing to live from right now? That question opens doors that the clock can never open. So, let this be the lasting invitation, to see your life not as a race against time, but as a dance with energy. To wake each day not fearing depletion, but trusting renewal. To give generously, rest deeply, focus clearly, and live meaningfully. Knowing that the cycle will always bring more. For when you live in the infinite cycle, life ceases to be a battle against exhaustion and becomes a flow of vitality. And in that flow, you discover not just productivity, but presence. Not just efficiency, but joy. Not just survival, but radiance. We have walked together through the landscape of energy, exploring the physical strength of the body, the emotional currents of the heart, the focused clarity of the mind, and the guiding flame of the spirit. Each one matters, but their true power lies in their harmony. Time divides life into hours, but energy fills those hours with meaning. And the greatest lesson is this: while time slips away and cannot be reclaimed, energy can always be renewed. Managing time helps you organize, but managing energy helps you live. It allows you to show up fully, not half present. It transforms tasks into expressions of meaning and relationships into spaces of connection. It reminds you that productivity is not measured in busyness, but in aliveness. So pause right here and ask yourself, are you living as though time is your master, or as though energy is your gift? Are you counting hours, or are you cultivating vitality? This single shift of perspective could transform not only your work, but your entire experience of being alive. Remember, energy is not just fuel, it is life itself. Physical energy roots you in strength. Emotional energy colors your days with joy or heaviness. Mental energy channels your thoughts into creation or chaos. Spiritual energy lifts all of it into alignment with purpose. Together, they form the real wealth you carry, far more precious than hours on a clock. And the beauty of energy is that it is abundant. You are never truly empty. You are simply out of rhythm. By returning to rest, gratitude, focus, and meaning, you can replenish yourself endlessly. This is not a theory. It is a practice. One you can begin now with a breath, a pause, a choice to honor the flame within. So I leave you with this question. Will you continue to live like a clock, ticking relentlessly until the hands run out? Or will you live like a fire, burning brightly, resting when needed, and illuminating the world around you? The choice is yours. And if you choose the path of energy, you will find not only effectiveness, but fulfillment, not only progress, but peace. You will discover that you always have enough, not because the hours have stretched, but because your spirit has expanded. This is the invitation to live in the cycle, to trust renewal, and to let your life shine with the fullness of energy.